one of the first things that students want to know about the Mystery Man, which is the character played by Robert Blake, the sort of the little guy with the white makeup. Um, he's called the Mystery Man on the credits. One of the first things students want to know about the Mystery Man is what the fuck is he? Um, and what I like about David Lynch is there's not an answer to that question. Um, One of the things monster stories are supposed to do is give you something strange, something unusual. So imagine if you're reading Dracula for the first time, right? And you don't know what a vampire is, and you'd be like, oh shit, this is fucking crazy. Oh, he can turn into a bat, and he drinks the blood of people to live, and he's been alive for hundreds of years. It's fascinating, right? Um, Frankenstein is this reanimated sort of monster, made up of the bodies of other people sewn together, and it's like a crazy idea. The werewolf, the idea that you could get bit by a wolf and turn into a wolf monster where you're forced to hunt at night. Zombies, right? Hundreds and hundreds of people reanimated from the dead or whatever. These are spooky, creepy ideas. But one of the things that makes something spooky and creepy, as I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the uncanny, is strangeness. It's strange, something unusual, something you haven't seen before. Uncanny literally means, one of the meanings of uncanny is just strange. Um, so the problem is that once you get used to the vampire, the werewolf, Frankenstein, zombies, what the fuck ever, witches, they become no longer strange pretty quickly. So with vampires, for example, there are rules about how to defeat them, right? So that's not so strange. You know how to deal with a vampire, right? So they come out at night. They don't show up in a mirror. You kill them with a wooden stake. Sometimes they can't cross running water. Sometimes they can't enter your house unless you have permission. And there are rules with a werewolf. You need a silver bullet, and witches will tell you the truth, but like in a weird technical way where it's going to trick you into thinking the wrong thing, and you're going to fuck up. So the point is that these supernatural monsters that you're used to seeing are supposed to be, one thing that makes them creepy is they're unusual. One thing that makes them creepy is they're hella strange. But once you've read enough witch stories and enough vampire stories and enough zombie stories, you get used to them. They get kind of boring. The Walking Dead has been on for years, and I mean, God, it's just boring after a while. You know what that show's going to do? They're going to get somewhere, and they're going to try to be safe, and it's going to go nice for a while, and then 1,000 fucking zombies are going to show up and try to eat their faces, and they're going to run away, and then it's going to happen again. So the strangeness of these creatures is gone because you're used to them. What makes the Mystery Man in Lost Highway so creepy is I don't understand what he is, and I don't understand what he can do, and I have no idea how to stop him, and he seems evil, but I'm not at all sure what he's up to. I don't know what motivates him. Whereas with a vampire, he wants to drink my blood so he can live forever. He wants, he sexually mesmerizes women. Right? So, like, after a while, you know what they're up to, but the Mystery Man remains strange. So what I would suggest is rather than try to figure out what the Mystery Man is, he's a new kind of creature. What makes David Lynch amazing is he invents his own, instead of just like making a vampire movie, which is borrowing someone else's mythology, in this case, Bram Stoker's mythology from Dracula, instead of borrowing someone else's mythology and putting it in your movie, he's invented his own mythology, which nobody does. Think about every comic book movie you've ever seen features villains that they just took out of the comic books and put on screen. There's no new villains in superhero movies. They're all the villains. Sometimes they change them a little bit, but they're, in the comics. You've seen them before. But David Lynch doesn't do that. His characters are, the Mystery Man is a kind of strange evil of a type I haven't seen before. What makes him creepy, I don't understand him, and I can't understand him. I don't know what's going on with that little dude. But he is creepy as hell, and he doesn't blink. He never blinks. He's right. In fact, I'm at your house right now. Call me. Give me back my blink. Give me back my phone. That he's something unusual, and that's what makes him scary. And if you could understand him, if you could figure him out, he would be a hell of a lot less scary at that point. So David Lynch creates his own mythology, and that's what makes him interesting. And you should think about him as like it's a new kind of horror thing where he's come up with his own creature with its own set of rules, and that's rare. Usually in these movies, you get something you expect, a ghost. You know what ghosts are, you know how to deal with them, fine. cool. Um, and there's like I don't understand like Bill Pullman sees the mystery man. His face is floating over his wife's face in bed. I don't know. It's terrifying. It's very strange. I don't know what to do with it. The mystery man says he came to Fred's house because Fred invited him. What does that mean? How did Fred invite the mystery man in his house? Does it have something to do with Renee? Since Mystery Man's face was on Renee's face? Let's get weirder. One of the things to pay attention to in these movies, we've talked about costumes and the setting. Let's talk about makeup. Please notice for a hot second that the makeup on the mystery man's face involves a kind of white pancake makeup with very dark red lips. Anybody else in this movie have white makeup with dark lips? Renee. One of the really creepy and one of the things that makes the mystery man uncanny is that he obviously he's a short little dude instead of a very sexy woman, but his makeup seems like Renee's makeup, and I don't know what to do with that. What is the mystery man's connection to Renee that he sort of looks a little like Renee? Not a lot, but a little, which is enough to be fucking creepy because it raises questions that I don't have the answers to, which is what's his connection to Renee. So, anyway, so he's an incredibly creepy character, partly because I don't understand the rules. I'm going to say something. Students like this next little bit. I don't think it's very important, but it's interesting. The actor who plays the mystery man is a guy named Robert Blake. Robert Blake was a child actor in Hollywood. When he was 5 years old, he was in this sort of kids thing called Our Gang. And like a lot of child actors, he, grew up too fast, grew up in Hollywood, and had kind of a fucked up life with a lot of sort of psychological problems. And he was troubled. He was angry. He was hard to work with. He was tough. Because he was a little kid. He was 5 years old. He's in movies. Everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to talk to him. He was famous when he was a child. This movie is made in 1997. I don't want to dwell on this too much, but it feels a little bit cheap to bring it up, but it also feels ridiculous if I don't mention it. So I'm going to mention it here. This movie's made in 1997. In 2001, Robert Blake was in a real life trial. He was accused of murdering his wife. Oh my God. Like, Lost Highway is a movie about a guy who murders his wife. And 4 years after the movie was made, Robert Blake, who plays the creepy little guy encouraging Fred to do terrible things and supporting his violence and also terrifying everybody in a movie where a guy kills his wife, Robert Blake killed his wife in real life, maybe. So it's like an incredibly weird detail in the film, and I don't like these kind of, oh, the movie's cursed and the actors are blah blah blah, but like it's a creepy movie, and it's a creepy detail that makes the movie even creepier now. And while we're on the subject of killing wives, one of the strangest things about this movie, and I don't want to make too big a deal of this. I don't fully know what to do with it, but it's just something worth mentioning. David Lynch has said that this movie is his response to the O.J. Simpson trial, which was on the O.J. Simpson as a football player who famously murdered his wife, and was acquitted, and but very obviously did it. And it was on TV every day, and people were talking about it. And like, I think David Lynch was watching the O.J. Simpson trial, talking about this guy killing his wife every day. This is the movie that he made in response to O.J. Simpson. He was inspired by the real life story of O.J. Simpson killing his wife, and that's part of why Fred kills Renee. Is it's a response to the O.J. Simpson trial. Like, I don't. Again, I have to mention these things because they're fascinating, but I don't necessarily want to. I don't want to over attribute. I don't want to be like, oh, this is very important, this is key to the movie, but it is like a weird piece of trivia that I feel like I would be doing a bad job if I didn't mention. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video.